We'll start with the Karakia. Nā mihi o te rā ki te whānau e hui hui nei. Kia tau te rangimāri ei. Kia whakatāpua tātou me nā mea. E whakapono ana tātou. Haumi e, hui e, tai kia e. Nā mihi nui. Please take a seat. And I want to welcome everybody who has come here today from far and wide. It is fabulous to see so many people here and so many people who are engaged and involved in our communities and really interested in what's going on. So welcome to our people online as well. Absolutely. I think we've got potentially some over there, so let's take a minute to find chairs for the people who don't have seats, and please let's just spread around and make sure that everyone's got a seat. Thank you, Martin. So for those folks online, we're just taking a couple of minutes just to make sure everyone's seated. We've got a big public forum agenda today. Just while we're doing that, we'll just ask councillors as we move through our agenda and resolutions, could you please raise your hand and make sure that your microphone is turned on when you're speaking so that those online can hear what's going on as well. Do we need to have some chairs over there as well? I don't have a problem with that. If we want to put some chairs over there, that's absolutely fine. And if we need to bring some more from next door, let's do it. Don't really want to have folks standing up for extended periods of time if we can avoid it. Okay, have we got everyone here? So as you can see, folks, we've got a large public forum item on the agenda. I think we've got 7 public forum items in total. We'll start on our agenda. So I'll call for apologies. Do we have any apologies? There being none, we'll move straight to public forum. And as we go through public forum, because we have so many public forum presentations, we're going to ask public forum presenters to keep their speaking time to 3 minutes, please. And when we get to 1 minute, I've got that, which will let you know that you have 1 minute left in your presentation time in public forum. So we appreciate your cooperation on this. Once we've got through public forum, we're going to go to the Whangamatā Marae and Community Group delegation, which will be a separate presentation at the end of public forum. So we'll go through public forum, we'll take a bit of a breath, and then we'll invite the Whangamatā Marae and Community Groups delegation to come forward. So first in the public forum is Wendy Pond. Wendy, I think I saw you outside. Are you here? There she is.
Thank you. I'd like to ask, there's a different order. I'd like to ask that the Thames groups and then that make a speak, and then I will build on.
Who's representing the Thames group, Wendy? Helen. I'm okay with that. Helen, are you happy to come forward? Okay, please come up. Can somebody please make sure that Helen's got a bit of a briefing on the tech and make sure that, I think it's Simon's very helpfully put some magic signs on there, so it's pretty straightforward.
Testing.
All right. Helen, the floor's yours.
Kia ora, atamari e, ko Helen Fowler aho. In reference to my letter dated 19th of November 2023 to Thames-Coromandel District Council board members, our Mayor, Deputy Mayor, CEO and leadership team. Topic 5G rollout 2024. I'm supporting a number of Thames community members with a householders petition opposing 5G technology within 350 metres from private homes. I have a background working in allied health, so I've got everyone's wellbeing interest at heart. There is a compelling international body of scientific research, including the voices of New Zealand scientists, warning against long-term exposure to the radiation fields generated by cell towers using 4 to 5G electromagnetic frequencies. We're really concerned about the health implications of 5G technology. Our concerns can be verified and supported by many studies and sound research. Health and safety must come first, and it is wise to invoke the precautionary principle at an early stage when there is a possible threat to the public. We are very disappointed there hasn't been any general announcement of this proposed 5G rollout by One New Zealand or any public consultation. I attached information in my letter on health and environmental effects of 5G to you with supporting references, and I will reiterate some examples here. We have two New Zealand scientists, Dr. Mary Redmayne and Dr. Bruce Rapley, who've done extensive studies on EMFs and warn of the danger and have presented. Lloyd Burrell, a very well-known author, discusses adverse effects of 5G tech. These include skin irritation, eye damage, heart and immunity damage, and effects on plant health, to name a few. And I did include a very clear video presentation from Frank Clegg, a former president of Microsoft Canada, warning us of 5G harm on people, outlining health effects like fatigue, headaches, tinnitus, mental stress, heart problems, DNA damage, diabetes and cancer. Hundreds of studies have been conducted by hundreds of scientists worldwide citing this. I ask you if anyone here has done their own independent research on 5G for yourselves and your whānau families, done your own research on it. We are mindful of our council's duty of care obligations under the Local Government Act to have regard for our views. I'll now present some maps from petitioners' addresses showing the 350 metre radius of where we oppose 5G tech. We have a property map here. I've enlarged it. This would be around Herawaka. We have Brunton Crescent. We have 27 maps, so I'll just show you a few. Way up to Ngarimu Bay. We're at Bray Street. Just some examples.
Helen,
I will finish off now.
It's time, thank you.
Finish off, I'm tabling these 27 maps, supporting information in our petition, stating that we do not consent to the 5G technology within 350 metres of our properties. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Helen. And you are very welcome to send through any of that material. And as you said, you're tabling the maps. So we welcome that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Ginny next. Have I got the order right? Thank you. Ginny, where are you from? Thank you, Ginny.
Good morning, everyone. I think what we're addressing today is probably one of the most important things that will be addressed for the year and the years to come. And I think that, you know, ears and eyes need to be upon this agenda. I'm a resident of Paget Street, Coromandel Town, and in June of this year, a 5G cell pole was placed in my street without any consultation to myself or any other residents in the area. The residents have not asked for a 5G pole. We already have fibre optic cable for internet. We already have mobile phone use from cell towers placed on hilltops in the local residence area. I won't go into where they are, but they can be checked out. So we have not asked, and we do not need the cell tower in Paget Street and on the corner of Edward Street. The pole was forced upon us without our consent. I'm here to state first-hand experiences of the residents, and the residents of Lower Edward Street are within 300 metres of the cell pole. We are reporting interference with cell phone reception and TV reception. A house only 25 metres away from the pole is experiencing cell phone interference. She actually takes her boys to school and they text her when they want to be picked up, and to work they can't get hold of her, and that is very strange. Family pets and people are experiencing disturbed behaviour. Family members feeling tired and irritable. And there is evidence also from land agents of properties within the cell pole near their home that they are being devalued. And they're very anxious about their health, as there is international evidence, which you'll be hearing after myself, of long-term harm effects to people living within the first few hundred metres. Now, this is from my neighbour. And her concerns, she came to see me yesterday and she's very unwell. She's had headaches for the first 2 months, 5 to 7 days per week. Irritability. Her pets, especially her parrot, this may sound insignificant, but it is not, now attacks the owner. And there is living less than 25 metres away from the tower. There are cameras on the pole, so she's under 24-hour surveillance, and that's in the immediate homes, and that is not in the Privacy Act. Quiet space is being ruined. One thing that she said to me yesterday, she said that she contacted Coromandel Council about a rates assessment recently. Because she felt that there's going to be a 20% decrease in her property. TCDC responded by saying the value of your home will increase with such valuable resources. She can't use those resources because she has to go out of the area to receive her phone calls. I mean, how ridiculous is that?
That's your time. Thank you, Ginny.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate that. And as I said, you're welcome to forward any of that material. Thank you. Wendy?
Tēnā tātou. Vodafone told us Vodafone can put a tower wherever it wants to. Council told us in the district plan, cell poles are a permitted activity. Council told us Council cannot refuse permission for 5G cell poles. Well, we, the community, were not being told the full story by Council and Vodafone. A court requires that parties place before it all the information needed to reach a just decision. I will present some of the information Council has not provided to our community. This is a complaint. Now, because there is such a short time, I have documented the failure of council to follow a proper consent process. The consent application from Vodafone did not fulfill the requirements of the Resource Management Act, Section 104, and it should have been refused. But council accepted that application, and at the assessment of the application by council also did not fulfill all the legal requirements. So it is our view of our community that the cell pole in Paget Street is not legally permitted. And we request that council has the pole removed. You've heard from one of the residents in Paget Street of the direct harmful effects of the pole in the lives of the residents. And this is an unlawful situation. The Resource Management Act requires that harm is avoided, remedied, mitigated. And that requirement applies to Vodafone and to council. It applies to every person undertaking a project. So I have here a great deal of detail about the ways in which council has misapplied the regulations, the NESTF regulations, the national standard on which council depended in granting consent. But that national standard itself states this standard applies to industry workers and to incidental public contact with the radio electromagnetic field. Incidental contact, whereas what council has permitted is a pole that stands permanently subjecting people to harmful electromagnetic radiation. Now, all the details of this I will table, as there's not time to explain to you. So please record that I'm tabling the speech I would have liked to have given. I'm tabling a background of further information. And I'm tabling a report from November, a month ago, of an American city that has refused to allow 5G technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wendy. That's much appreciated. Councillors, any questions for clarification of Wendy at this stage? Okay, we look forward to receiving that material. Thank you, Wendy. Much appreciated. So we've got, and forgive me if I mispronounce the name, Nisa? Just please put me in the right. Nisa, thank you very much.
Kia ora, thank you for your time. So 3 years ago, I began visiting the police with evidence as to my concern about the safety of the COVID-19 vaccine. My background is as a pharmacy technician, both at the community and hospital level. So the reason why I am here, and to follow on from what Wendy is saying, is to attempt to compress 3 years of research into 3 minutes. So forgive me if this is a little bit difficult. The main issue that I see moving forward is that there is now enormous evidence to show that graphene has been included in the COVID-19 vaccine formulation. This does not limit it to Pfizer, it also limits, it's also been found in the others. This product is highly sensitive to electromagnetic frequencies, and the way it's been formulated in the spike protein or the lipid nanoparticle is that it's been combined with gold and biological material to be receptive to frequency. So the way that the classified military sector of science works is quite different to the public health science sector. And so a lot of people aren't aware of this level of technology that operates at the nanoscale. So if you go to the DARPA website, you can see that they are using graphene, for example, in brain modulation, and also a number of advanced applications in the military for specific defence purposes. The problem I see moving forward is that there's a lack of correlation between radio frequencies from 5G antenna, 4G antenna, even cell phones, Wi-Fi, and the substance that is included in the COVID-19 vaccine. So at the end of October in 2019 in Wuhan, the 5G was activated, and shortly thereafter the pandemic began. The same occurred with the high death rates in Lombardy, Italy, as well as New York. So from my perspective, there's a direct correlation between radio frequency emissions increasing as well as the toxicity in people's bodies. And as I've tabled evidence at the community board meeting previously, I have given the Eastern Area Commander for the Waikato region in the police force a number of documents to prove what I am saying. I've also got them here for you, and I'm happy to email them to anyone. So the concern I have is that A, there's a lack of correlation, B, there's a lack of education around the fact that this product is actually a bioweapon and it is designed to interface with frequency, and there's a lack of real critical thinking around what long-term cumulative damage from radiation can do to a community. I personally know of a number of people who have died from this, and from my perspective, if we don't address this immediately, we're going to see a societal breakdown that we have never seen before in this country. So I'm doing this for my country. I'm also doing this for you because I care deeply about my community and I care deeply about the people of this land. And unfortunately, Pfizer has deceived the public as to its product and the nature of the product, and it has deceived people at a very high level. So what happens when that happens is that there's a trickle-down effect of people thinking the people above them have done the work and the people above them have ticked all the boxes. Even my colleagues in the pharmacy sector thought that the people above them were the most clever scientists in the world in solving this problem. Unfortunately, what happens with revolving door policies in places like the United States is that you get people moving from one industry to the next and they have conflict of interest. And when that happens, you get products that are not safe. It took 5 years for thalidomide to be removed from the market, and we do not have that amount of time to address this issue. I cannot emphasize enough the amount of damage this will cause if not addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you very much. So thank you, Wendy, Ginny, Helen and Nisa. The next part of the public forum, okay, so we'll go straight to John McIntyre, please. John, are you nearby? There he is. Thank you.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko John McIntyre tōku ingoa. I'm making this presentation on behalf of Ngāti Tamatara. The purpose of this kōrero is to seek council support to build a new public toilet at the Waikowau Reserve in the next 18 months, and secondly, to ensure the proper use of recently granted tourist infrastructure funding. Since 2017, Ngāti Tamatara, along with others, has been advocating to get new toilets built at the Waikowau Reserve on the Thames coast. The reserve is part of a treaty settlement initialled in 2017 between our iwi and the Crown, which includes council and other parties. Like other reserves in the region, the public continues to enjoy the use and benefit of these reserves, and council continues to maintain them. While we wait for the government to get our settlements into law, things can be done now. We have worked positively with council staff, the economic unit, parks and reserves and landscape design on a previous tourist infrastructure fund round, which I'll call TIF. The final design concept for the new toilets, which you see today, was put together with council staff in consultation with us for that TIF application prior to the pandemic. The Boat Ramp Society worked with us and supported the project. The type of toilet is similar to the hot water beach facility and will contain appropriate Ngāti Tamatara designs. the field drainage area is agreed and set aside in the overall design of the reserve. This council's application to the TIF fund is the second go round, as the first time our joint collaboration with staff got stopped by the previous mayor and governance. We felt this decision was parsimonious and prejudiced. The existing public toilets are old and poor condition, end of life. They are not of a good standard and are smelly. There are constant complaints from people who use the reserve toilets, and particularly also from the fishing public. The Waikawa Reserve is a well-used park by the public. Members of the public who go fishing and use the boat ramp are the greatest users of the park and the public toilets. We estimate that about 95,000 people per year use this reserve, and on long weekends we can see about 3,300 people using the park, mainly to launch their boats while they go fishing. But they also need to come back and use the facilities. We don't think this will change much with the new boat ramp at Korpu, because the Waikawa ramp is closer to the mussel farms. You can see young families and grandparents going out in the boats with their children and grandchildren. The fishermen especially generate considerable income for the businesses in Thames: food, takeaways, ice, bait, rods, tackle, and of course fuel. Just moving now to the 2023 TIF funding. It's a great credit to the staff of the council who put this year's April round 7 TIF application together, which included the Waikawa toilets along with a lot of others. What a great result that was achieved across the region. It's a positive benefit for the region under your watch, Mayor Salt. However, we were bitterly disappointed and upset at the Thames Community Board's recent decision to give us the bum's rush. This was discussed at our hui on Sunday at Te Puru, and our people are not happy. Not only does the Thames Community Board want to take the public money approved by the government to meet half the cost of the Waikawa toilets, but it wants to go and spend it on something entirely different at Rocket Park, which just had a makeover a few years ago. But I also understand that earlier this year they removed the funding for the Waikawa public toilets, which was part of their annual budget. None of this with any engagement with Ngāti Tamatara. Surely this project is a winner. Half the cost is already paid by the Tourist Infrastructure Grant Fund. Tick the minimal rates impact. Tick the doability. The solution is simple. Don't agree with the Community Board's recommendation to Council. Have a chat to the Community Board so they don't expose this Council to undue risk by trying to inappropriately use government money. Ask the Thames Community Board to restore the original money in this year's budget for the Waikawa toilets and build it right now. Suggest that the governance might like to have a chat with us. So, in conclusion, we support Mayor Len Salt's proposed course of action on this matter, referred to in today's agenda. Finally, we would like to move this project along together, creating a positive result for all the public who use the park, especially our whānau, families, the fishing community and visitors who like coming to our region, especially now with the opening of State Highway 25A next week. Kia ora tātou. Thank you.
Kia ora. Thank you, John. Much appreciated. Before you go, John, are there any questions from councillors for John? Questions, clarifications? No? Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay. Yep, sure. Jan, are you here? Thank you.
Thank you. Kia ora. My name is Jan Wright. I am chair of the Coromandel Heritage Trust, which operates the Treasury Research Centre and Archive here in Thames. The Treasury is a centre which preserves the paper-based records of the Thames-Coromandel District, and it does this because the paper-based records tell the story of the development of culture, what has happened, why it's happened often. It's a very, very important record the development of communities. An archive is often not well known. A true archive is climatically controlled. It is sealed. Few people go into the building because the humidity needs to be retained. Now, all of these things are incredibly high tech, and they are incredibly expensive to run. So the Treasury is a very expensive beast for the district, as well as being extremely important. Our Treasury here in Thames, which serves Thames-Coromandel, is state of the art. I'm here today to speak in support and gratitude for the recommendation from staff that the funding that comes to the Treasury from TCDC remain the same for the next 3 years, for the 24 to 27 period. Thank you very, very much indeed. We understand that in this environment, it would have been the very easiest thing in the world to actually scrap that funding or reduce it. So I'm saying thank you, and please, councillors, vote to continue with that funding. At the moment, as I understand it, there is 40,000 due to come to the Treasury per year for the next 3 years. So why is an archive so expensive to run? As I say, state of the art, huge electricity, unfortunately, very expensive fire suppression systems. Like a museum, we are all about the preservation of culture and heritage, but we are very unlike a museum in the ways that our archive is so expensive to run, and secondly, we don't attract fee-paying visitors in the same way that a museum does. If TCDC and Karakia District Council continue to support the Treasury as they have done over the last 3 years, we will be able to get by in operating the Treasury, operating the archive. Now, that is just the running of the archive itself. It means that we would not be able to afford to pay any staff. Our staffing in the past has come from other public funding, from lottery community, etc. Now, as we all know, there is a crisis happening with public funding right now. So we are looking very, very broadly and innovatively at ways that the Treasury can continue to operate through this period of crisis and serve the district. So my thanks again to TCDC, to councillors, to staff for their support. Hang in there with us, please, and we are doing our very best to continue to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan, much appreciated. Councillors, any questions of Jan while she's here? Okay.
The door before, probably. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Yeah. Sue, thank you. Thames Business Association. So we've got Sue Lewis O'Halloran and David Ivory. Thank you.
Yes, good morning. Allow me to introduce our chair, David Irons.
Good morning. Thank you all. This is in relation to the economic development rate submission. As the Thames Business Association, we welcome the support indicated by the funding decision, not only for the Thames Business Association itself, but also for the other business associations on the peninsula. It sends a powerful message that the associations are valued and contribute to the wider benefit of all our communities. We understand that the proposal recommends option 2B as the preferred methodology of providing support via the economic development rate. Of the options presented in the paper, we would not select this one, especially given the comments from many elected officials and staff on the lines of the last year or so. It's time to give Thames a go. Our preference would be option 2C, as we believe, given the information provided in the paper, it represents the most equitable outcome, delivers fairness, which is an important consideration. Thames, as noted in the paper, is the main contributor to the GDP of the peninsula, has the largest population, but perhaps most importantly, supports the most employment. The mantra of the Thames Business Association is better business, stronger community. And what better way to deliver on that than having an employed and engaged local workforce? Using the numbers in the paper, option 2B would deliver in year 3 funding of $18.09 per employment position for Whangamatā, $18.09 for Whirianga, but only $11.11 for Thames. However, option 2C delivers $18.85 for dollars and cents for Whangamatā, $18.70 for Whirianga, but $18.23 for Thames per employment position. This would appear to deliver the opportunity for the Thames Business Association to continue its excellent work on behalf of local businesses to not only maintain but grow those important employment numbers. It is noted in the paper that the disadvantage of 2C is that it inadequately, difficult word to say when you're up here, funds small communities. But using the metrics above, the top funded association is Tairua at a benefit of $22.19 for each employment position. While it may seem self-serving to support the option with the biggest number, the simple fact is the Thames Business Association provides an excellent offer to the peninsula, offers an excellent offer to the largest and most significant businesses area on the peninsula. If better funded, it could expand its support for local business, improve its collaboration with other associations to amplify the funds allocated to the benefit of all. Thank you. I'll just let Sue finish with a couple of words as well.
We ask that you give thoughtful consideration to our feedback. If we are to work collaboratively with the other business associations in the district, it's imperative that we begin with a level playing field. Anything less than this will breed divisiveness and discontent. In our submission on the LTP over 3 years ago, we encouraged funding for all business associations in order that we would all have an opportunity to work collaboratively while supporting the businesses and initiatives in our own wards. We remain committed to this, provided it is fair and equitable. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Sue, before you go, and David, any questions from councillors on the presentation? Councillor Rodley. Thank you.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for your presentation. So also contained within the report talks about the funding would be dependent on the business associations meeting KPIs. So presumably you will be okay to be working with council to develop those KPIs, and do you see any potential clash, how the council might say we want you to do this but your focus might be in a different area?
So this information came to us on Thursday. So we will take this one piece at a time and say that the funding portion is important and the KPIs will work through. I can't imagine that there will be anything insurmountable in those, although some negotiation may be necessary. Okay, we haven't seen those as yet.
Okay, thank you.
Peter, thank you.
Have I pushed the right button?
Yes, you
have. For the area that the Thames Business Association covers, do you have any idea of what the nature of those businesses are, whether they are farms, manufacturing, retail, hospitality, or anything else? Do you have that information?
Predominantly, sorry, Sue.
If you want by units, business units, how many are commercial, industrial, manufacturing, et cetera? No, we don't.
Right.
We do know a lot about the retailers on
Yep.
Collins Street and in the mall, et cetera, but we don't have a breakdown.
Okay.
So what is it you would like to know? Because we'll find out for you.
Well, I could take that offline with you.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Lee.
Councillor Revel. John, thank you.
David, Sue, thank you for your presentation. I was just wondering, in the area that's covered by the Thames Business Association, what percentage of businesses have chosen not to belong to the association?
Well, actually, John, until we saw the report from ED, we didn't know there were 1,071 business units. So currently, we would have probably just under a third as members, partly because we have not had the resources to actively recruit them, to be perfectly honest.
Okay, but yeah, my concern is that the other 600 or 700 businesses that don't belong to the association are perhaps doing so because they don't want to or they can't afford to. So I guess I've got to make a question out of this. What are your thoughts on a blanket rate coming through the economic development rating system, where businesses that don't want to pay are actually forced to pay?
Well, that would involve further discussion, but my experience has been that with the many business associations in the country that have targeted rates, there hasn't been huge protest about it because everybody is getting a fair shake and getting level service. That is the anticipation and the ideal.
I would just comment as well that rates are a broad tool to raise funds and the benefit is widely distributed. Some may benefit a little more than others, but the intent of the business association is to benefit all businesses and grow all opportunities across all of those. They may choose not to be members. Perhaps they don't know, perhaps they don't understand the benefit. We wouldn't discriminate against those that are members or non-members. The benefit would go to everyone operating in our ward and across the peninsula. Adequately funded, we think we can do a lot more.
Thank you.
Thank you. No further questions? Thank you, Sue. Thank you, David. Much appreciated. Yeah. Online? Okay. So we'll go to Linda, please, and then straight after that we'll go to Peter Hunt from Tairua, who's online. Linda Grant from Mercury Bay Business Association. Thank you, and thank you for taking care of this valuable asset down in the corner here.
Just call me Florence.
Florence.
I'm Linda Grant. I'm the chair of the Mercury Bay Business Association, and talking today about funding. So funding is really integral to some of the things we do in the community. We are fortunate that our business association has been running for some time, so we have a good number of financial members, certainly nowhere near enough to generate the funds that we require to what we'd really like to do. So historically, we've applied for grants and fundings to do things in the community. It's a volunteer group of people, and that has been reasonably successful. So to a degree, we've always had some funding from council. What would make it easier is to know that we have a set amount of funding. Now, whether this was administered through the economic development team here or whether it's given to us with obviously the KPIs, which I'm not sure what they will be. And I know there's some trepidation with members to what they're going to have to do. I think the funding gives us tools to better communicate with our businesses and engage with our businesses. We support community events, not only that we run, but other organisations run. We've run training and given support to businesses and lobbying for causes. One of our big causes at the moment is Cathedral Cove. So we've been able to engage people to do that. So without funds, a lot of those things would not happen. I think, so what we would like to see is to be able to continue to work with the economic development team here at council, who we've found very helpful, but still have some funding. There's a talk too, we spend a lot of time in filling in forms and compliance and traffic management, and all of those things cost money. So we do need some funding. So that's all from me today. Any questions?
Linda, I have one, if I may. I wonder if you could just very briefly talk about any difference that you've noticed between the way that the Business Association operated pre-cyclone events and what changes you've seen through these events, and whether there's been a difference in the way that businesses engage and the association engages with the wider community and with council.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a difference. I've been on the board for 3.5 years, only in the last 18 months as chairperson. But there was a lot of people going, oh, what does the Business Association do? So this funding, and I think a new board, has helped us to do a lot more. So we've actually grown our membership. I mean, ideally, I think business associations should be self-funded. We should be able to have enough members to fund what we want to do, but we don't. And our membership is growing. I think we've had 3 or 4 members every month join and more participation in things. But that's a slow process, you know, at $215 a year. It takes a while. We also, I mean, our business association runs a really great website, so that some of our costs that we have now are actually funding that administration of our website and our communication. But yeah, there has been, with the increased activity from the business association, there's been a lot more positive feedback for our board.
Thank you. We'll go to Peter and then Gary, please, and then Rico.
Thanks, Linda. Do you happen to know the demographic of the businesses in the area, manufacturing, hospitality, etc.?
No, I don't know the statistics. I know a lot of ours are hospitality and tourism based. And actually, we don't have a lot of retail businesses members, funnily enough. Our business members are quite diverse. So we've got a lot of trades, a lot of tourism. Yeah, a very diverse range of our members.
Thank you. Gary.
Yes, I note it's on page 183, the urban area and population. When it comes for Thames, is 7,619. Whitianga, which I gather is Mercury Bay, is 6,420. But there's a lot not counted there because properties up there must be a third or more are non-permanent. And of course, when you look at the employment, are those figures for full-time employment or the seasonal ones, which would...
I'm not sure. Like Sue said, those figures only came through to us on Thursday, so I'm unsure of whether, I can't tell you whether they are. But, you know, Mercury Bay covers from the top of Pumpkin Hill or Tairua to Whangamatā. So we have got South Mercury Bay as well. So a lot of the time, you know, we've really tried to have a focus on that area as well. But yeah, tourism would be our biggest area.
Which has been affected dramatically.
Hugely, yeah, and Cathedral Cove.
Thank you. One more, Rebecca, please.
Sorry, Peter actually sort of asked my question, which was really about, are you seeing more non-retail businesses join? You mentioned you're getting more joining each month, but then you said not a lot of retailers.
Yeah, we have very few retailers. And bear in mind, some of the retailers over there, they're not owner operated. They're people working in them. So, you know, like Chancellor Surf Store have 17 stores around this, you know, around the whole of the North Island. So that person doesn't roll up or join. They don't, it's quite hard to get them to join. So yeah, our percentage of business members is quite diverse. So it covers a really good range of businesses, a lot of tradespeople actually.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Much appreciated. Okay, so we'll go to Peter. Peter, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can, loud and clear.
Excellent.
You all set to go?
Indeed.
Fabulous.
Thanks. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council, and opportunity to talk. I am the chair of the Tairua Business Association, which is relatively new. We formed in July this year, and we have approximately 60 members. I would just like to firstly say thank you to the Council for the council, the staff, Wakatahi, road contractors, everyone, to getting our 25A back to its original state. So we as a community had, I think, been the hardest hit. We saw an 80% drop in our revenue as a result of the cyclonic events that affected our infrastructure. So but out of that pretty catastrophic, we saw a great opportunity to form together and to build a better and stronger business resilience, and hence the focus of my talk to you today is to say, please continue that business association funding. We feel that the investment made to date needs to be yielded, but that takes a time. We've found that through this disaster, the businesses pulled together and made a huge effort to help and support each other, and with the council funding, provided an impetus to make our businesses more resilient, because I hate to say this, but these financial wins and climatic events are going to continue no matter what, and we need to strengthen our business community. It's a lot of owner-operated business community, however, and with 80% drop in revenue, we saw a number of businesses fall over. Sadly, we could not save them. However, we feel that the nature of the location of Tairoa, that the funding model suggested, obviously with 2B, is our preferred option for a number of reasons. One is that I think there's a lot of transient business generated that Tairoa can generate from other businesses in the surrounding Eastern Coromandel region. So therefore, the more we have a lot of businesses coming into Tairoa and moving out. So it's a very transient business community. And we need to provide them with more skills to be a smarter, more resilient business community. So that's my simple message. I think obviously with the funding, again, there will be key KPIs, but my message to you, Council, is that the investment made to date needs to be maintained, and it needs to be get the greatest return, which will only be through long-term investment. That's all I had to offer.
Peter, thank you so much. So just to be clear, with item 2.8, you have a preference for option 2B?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Linda, can I just ask you, Peter, thank you. Before we come to questions, I'm just going to, before I forget, ask Linda, did you have a preference for options from?
Yeah, I haven't got a preference. Probably 2 months not our preference. So, option probably, to be honest, I haven't got a.
Okay, all right. Sorry to put you on the spot. Thank you. Sorry to put you on the spot. Okay, Peter, thank you so much. Councillors, any questions of Peter? Councillor Rebel, thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Just the same question that I asked the other boards. Do you have an idea of the mix of the businesses that are in your area? You know, manufacturing versus retail versus hospitality, etc.
No, I don't at this point accurately. I'd say the major contributors to our association at this point were retail and hospitality and restaurants, etc. The manufacturing, but having said that, there is a number of supporters in the manufacturing area as well. But I'd say predominantly it would be, you know, a split between retail and eateries and also the B&Bs of this world, the little motels, hotels.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Revel. Any further questions? Okay, there being none. Thank you, Peter. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay. And then Graham Smith. Okay. John Sanford, are you hearing us? We'll go to you. John, we're not hearing you. Can you unmute? There he is.
You can hear me now?
We can. Thank you.
Yeah. Kia ora Melian and tēnā koutou Atamarie, ko John Sanford aho. My kōrero this morning is on behalf of Destination Karakia Coromandel. Now, really what we're doing is speaking briefly in support of the proposal by the TCDC team to today's meeting. And I'll just cover a couple of things relating to Destination Hauraki Coromandel. But before I do that, and I don't want to get involved in local politics or anything like that, but in principle, we absolutely support the proposal that the Waikawa toilets project goes ahead, and particularly because they're pay for use. As an organisation, we don't believe that visitors should receive ratepayer funded facilities. Anyway, I just wanted to mention to councillors that our commitment is still to our core purpose as a destination marketing organisation. We're here for the overall social, cultural, environmental and economic benefits for the people and places of both the communities and businesses of the Hauraki and Thames-Coromandel districts. Our operational approach in terms of destination marketing is to attract more visitors to Hauraki Coromandel, encourage those visitors to stay longer, and to enable those visitors to spend more when they're here. Interestingly, we're actually only funded at Tier 4, which is the bottom quartile relative to all New Zealand's 31 RTOs, but we consistently perform in the top quartile based on the measures I just mentioned. To be frank, that's obviously made possible, the performance that we achieve, by the fantastic small team that we have at DHC. But of course, none of that would be possible without the funding support we receive from both TCDC and HDC. And this year, that was supplemented by $200,000 received from Kānoa, the Regional Development Unit of MB, which we are just starting a program of spending that money right now. And also, earlier in the year, we received support from an ad agency, DDDB. They provided us with around $500,000 worth of marketing and promotional work at no cost. It just happens to be that the managing director of the agency has a batch in Hahei. So we're very lucky to get that support for cyclone recovery marketing, both from Kānoa and additional money, I should say, both from Kānoa and the agency. Just want to touch briefly on the destination management plan. 3 years ago, all the RTOs and regional tourism organisations, RTOs in New Zealand, were mandated by government and provided with funding to develop destination management plans, which actually is different from destination marketing. But what destination management is about is making a place that's more fit for visitors. Yes. So we've actually prepared the destination management plan for Hauraki Coromandel, and we're just working on the final input now being provided by the TCDC team. And what the DMP means for Thames-Coromandel District Council is that we've actually we've consulted extremely widely and have identified a number of projects that can be undertaken to enhance the visitor proposal or visitor offering for Hauraki Coromandel. So our job is not to do any of that work. Our job is simply to plan for it, and that's what we were mandated by government to do. And so we've planned for what needs to be done, and then it's now over to the local councils or other bodies to progress that. But so what I'll say in closing is that we actually support the report by the TCDC team that's on your table today. And in fact, Thursday, I'm meeting with the mayors and chief executives of both Thames-Coromandel District Council and Hauraki District Council, putting together, we've actually done a review of our organisation over the last 9 months, and we've come up with some conclusions. And in terms of restructuring and making it more possible for us to receive outside funding. So I'll be putting that report or proposition to our two settlors on Thursday. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. That's on my calendar, so looking forward to that. Much appreciated. Questions? Councillor Romley, please.
Yes, good morning, John. So I just wanted to clarify with you of the three options. Option 1, maintain the status quo. Option 2, bring in-house, and option 3, review. So Destination Karakia-Coromandel would be supporting option.
Well, we like option 1, but frankly, what we've done is actually come up with a proposal that puts our current board out of business, if you like, but we think this is the best thing going forward. We've been operating for 12 years under the current structure, and things have changed massively. And so, in fact, 18 months ago, we started a process of considering what would be a better approach. So what we're supporting is item 3.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, John. Any further questions? Rebecca, please.
Just wondering, in light of some of those comments, is it best for us to progress with this decision today?
I'm not sure I understand.
It seems that they're coming to you with a new proposal of ways to operate.
They are. We've still got to go through a process in item 2.4, which calls for a review and a review of current KPIs by 31st of June. So what item 2.4 does is it approves item 3 if we decide as a council to do that, and gives us until 31st of June to have a deeper look at the proposal. So it buys us more time to go into that in more detail, and the meeting on Thursday give us some input into that. So we can have further discussion on that in item 2.4. So John.
Yeah, thanks, Len. That John's comment up there just took me by surprise. I didn't see option 3 as disestablishing the board. John, do you want to elaborate a little bit on what you meant by that comment?
But just in a sense, the proposal we're making actually, what we're asking our settlors to do is to have a look at, and we're making proposals of how that be done, but look at the whole structure, organisational structure, and the purpose, if you like, of the trust that we operate under. That was, in a sense, a throwaway comment, because if the council or if the settlors approve our recommendations, then we're just putting on the table that we think that we need a fresh look at how the organisation operates. And what I should say right here is that we're going to be recommending to the settlors, amongst other things, that there be a council representative on the board from each of the two district councils, or not necessarily, a council representative. So it could be a councillor or an independent person that the council will decide to appoint.
Okay, thanks for that, John. It's not often I'm taken by surprise, but yeah, me a bit there. Hey, listen, look, I'm happy hearing that. You may have heard that I've had some concerns for a little while about Destination Karakia-Coromandel and the district management plans and whether or not we were receiving value for money. So, yeah, I'm happy to hear that from you. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Councillor Morrissey. Councillor Sinclair, please.
Hi, John. I just had a question about the destination management plan. The councillors have seen that, each community board has seen that, and I felt when I read through the attachments in this item that some of the concerns that we'd had weren't reflected in the latest version, if this is the latest version that we've got. So my question is, when is that destination management plan going to be finalised?
We're in the process of finalising it now. And we've done our best to capture we had over 3,000 submissions on the Destination Management Plan. And we're working currently with Lorna and her team, Mitch and co, to finalise that. So if you have some areas that you think need to be added, perhaps you could have a chat to Mitch, Lorna, or one of the other team. Yeah, I mean, what we've had to do is actually distill all that information, and so it's been a massive job. But we've actually done a much deeper dive during our destination management plan than any other of the RTOs in New Zealand that we're aware of. A lot of them, to be frank, are fairly lightweight in our opinion. But we put the effort in to get very wide community input.
Thank you, John. John Grant. We've got three Johns. So give that confusion. Councillor Grant.
Thank you. My question to you, John, is one around what do you judge as the ultimate success of Destination Karakia-Coromandel? So if you look back and reflect after a year of operation, what would determine in your mind and in the board's mind that you've achieved the key elements of what you should be delivering for the area?
That's fair enough. That's a fair question. I suppose what we need to also put in underlying our efforts in the destination management plan and what we do as a destination marketing organisation is focus on regeneration, not just sustainability, but we figure that what we need to do, and encourage our visitors to help us do, is to create a better environment than we currently have in our place. So that's an underlying and very hard to measure aspect, although one of them is measurable, and one of them is we're doing work with the Kiwi Recovery Program on the peninsula. And so for us, the number of Kiwi is actually a key measure, one of the key measures. But if we come back to the pure marketing side of things, what we are measuring is that more people come, they stay longer, and they spend more. But in doing so, it's really important that we do our best to measure their impact so that their impacts aren't negative. Regenerative approach to tourism is about the people add more than they take away. That sounds pretty esoteric, but it's something we're all grappling with at the moment. But it's very important. And so that's an approach that we're taking.
Thank you, John. Terry?
Yeah, thank you, John. John, just a quick question around the platform that Karakia-Coromandel Destination is planned for tourism. We've had a pretty tough time lately. What's the future indications for the platform going forward?
The platform, are you meaning the marketing platform, or are you talking about the whole performance of tourism in the whole district?
Really, do you see the tourism industry lifting and coming back into play through your platform, through your?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. We've just been so hammered, as everyone knows, by the Cyclone Gabrielle and the rain, in fact, even starting last Christmas. But no, it definitely will come back. Other regions have experienced very strong comebacks since COVID, and a number of them are performing better than before, now performing better than COVID. Our performance has been impacted massively by 25A in particular. And so we worked very strongly with TCDC in getting solutions for 25A, and we've been very mindful of the impacts of that. The other thing that we're really concerned about at the moment, but seeking long-term proposals or long-term solutions for, is Cathedral Cove access. But no, as far as we're concerned, the outlook's very, very strong. And it's really important because, tourism is a really big factor for the economies of both Haraki and Thames-Coromandel districts. And yeah.
Thank you, John. Okay, no further questions? All right, thank you so much. We'll move on. So just confirming, appreciate your time, John.
You're a tato.
So just confirming, we have one more speaker in public forum, and that's Graham Smith. Graham, welcome.
Well, kia ora, Mayor, councillors, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Graham Smith, just one of the cheerful staff members at the Whangamatā Information Centre. I would like to make reference to Kirsten's report, our District Events and Experiences Coordinator, quite a mouthful, specifically item 2.6 on the agenda today that outlines the potential options for the district's information centres moving forward. Now, every town in the Coromandel is unique, and I'm sure every information centre provides visitors with the pertinent features and benefits of their particular area. In Whangamatā, we encourage visitors to stay longer. We encourage and experience what the town and surround has to offer. We engage with them. We chat about where they are from, what they do, and what their interests are. We care about them, and we suggest a safe trip to their next destination. We want them to feel as if they've made a new friend. Let's keep the status quo for the information centres. Let's collaborate with other centres a couple of times each year and share ideas on how we can be exceptional. Let's all register the foot traffic the same way so that it is accurate and sensible. Let's keep the status quo and just enhance what is already established. Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. We appreciate your clarity and keeping it short. Now, you've gone and sat down, but I'm going to open it up. Any questions from councillors? All right, there being none, thank you, much appreciated. All right, have we got to the end of our formal public forum? All right. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll ask for a mover and a seconder, please, to receive the public forum. Councillor Connell, seconder. Councillor Grant, all those in favour? Carried. Thank you so much. Okay. What we will do now is we will take a short 2-minute breather, stretch the legs, and then we will invite the Whangamatā Marae Committee and the Community Hub representatives to prepare themselves and then come and make their presentations. Thanks, Phil. Oh, God. Ngā mihi nui, tātou. Ryan, welcome. The floor is yours.
Tēnā ki te rangi, tēnā ki te whenua, tēnā ki te nākoro ngā tangata, ko te mea nui ko te aroha, tihei, maumio. Mihi tuatai ki te atua, i oaneri karoaria te tōne ngō tapu, i maugano ki te whenua, i whakaro pai ki a tātou katoa. I te whare tū nei, tū tonu mai. Tēnei te tangi atu ki a rātou ko wehi atu, ki te pō. Anei o tamariki o mokopuna i whai atu ara i o tapuai, nō reira. Hoki atu, hei moi, hei oki oki. Ahi mihi mahana ki a tātou ko huihui mai nei i raro i te kaupapa o tēnei rā. Ki ngā mana whenua, ki a koutou ngā kaitiaki o tēnei rohi, tēnā koutou. Ki a mea Lynn, tēnā koe i te rangatira.
Kia ora.
Ki ngā kai kaunihira, ki ngā kaimahi o TCDC, tēnā koutou katoa. Ka nui te mihi ki a koutou o Whangamatā, kua tai mai ki te tautoko i tēnei rā. Nō reira, i mihi poto no iho tēnei, engari i mihi aroha mo te kaupapa hirihira o tēnei rā. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Tēnei te kāronga, tēnei te tangi. Ta tūwhiri ngā tātou i te whai o tāo mārama, tihe mauri ora. First to our me, Mr. Lindsay, tēnā koe, fellow councillors, tēnā koe, tēnā koutou. I'm Te Awhiro o Gilbert, community member of Whangamatā, mana whenua, iwi tangata, te uri ngā wera te iwi. I'm very privileged to be here today to speak on behalf of my Whangamatā community, the Marae Trust, all of these people sitting here, most importantly, all of those people that have come before us. As a young boy of 12, 13 years old, I attended the meetings of my father when he was part of the Marae Committee back then, in the late 80s and early 90s. At that time, I sat at the feet of all of those people, and I can still see their faces today. And today I stand here, a 46-year-old man. What I remember is the mahi that they done, the fundraising, the passion that they worked with. But what I also remember is the resistance that they faced, the disappointment when their proposals were rejected, and the hurt, the mamai that remains. And today I carry that mamai, and today you can heal that. When you make your decisions, you can heal the mamai of the past. I grew up in Whangamatā as a young Māori, and it wasn't easy. I faced what I faced, but I will not bring those words into this chamber, because if we do not talk about it, it does not exist. But to me, what it came down to is understanding. And that is what the marae can help bring, is that understanding to our community, so that we can be there to share with each other, share knowledge, share skills, and most importantly, share whakawhanungatanga, the building of relationships between Māori, Pākehā, and our community. The weight that we carry is on our shoulders today. Your decisions that you make for the land that we are asking for our community marae, you can lift that weight off our shoulders. So please, I ask you, think with your hearts and lift the weight off our shoulders. I end my kōrero here by saying this to you all. It is now in your hands. Mea Lindsay, councillors, thank you for listening to my kōrero. Kia ora koutou.
Kia ora, ngā mihi nui.
Kia ora anō. My name is Ryan Thompson, and I'm the chair of the Community Marae Committee. And I'd like to share with you a little bit of the journey that's led us here to today, and some of the reasons why you should support our project. So first of all, since the early days that Te Awhiroa mentioned, the Marae Committee remained active in fundraising and seeking land. And in 2013, they approached the Whangamatā Community Board for support. And the Whangamatā Community Board got in behind our kaupapa, and along with council staff, helped us to look at options for land.
Ryan, sorry to interrupt. Do you need us to work through the slideshow for you? Are we on the right place?
No, if you click one more, I'm like.
There's a clicker there. Okay.
Thank you.
You happy to drive that?
Yep, no problem. One click. So through the community board and the council staff, we looked at a range of options for land and settled on the only viable option left in Whangamatā, which is 101 Lindsay Road. From 2015 until now, there's been a number of reports and assessments and business cases presented to both the community board and the council. And there has always been strong support and wide-ranging support for this kaupapa, but there hasn't quite been the detail that's needed to get it across the line. But every obstacle in this journey has served to make us stronger, better prepared and more united to achieve the goal of having a marae and a wellbeing hub. Every time more information has been required, we've stepped up to that challenge and we've gone away and we've done our homework and we've come back with the information that's been needed. And one of the best things to come out of this process has been the bringing together our community and the inclusion of a wide range of community groups. When we first started with the community board and the council, it was just the Marae Trust. But along the way, we've had our whole community get behind this project, and we are now a strong, united group representing not just the marae, but a whole lot of other services and organisations in Whangamatā. Today, we are proud to present you a high-level feasibility study and business case, which clearly demonstrates the need for and the viability of community marae and wellbeing hub in Whangamatā. Along the way, we have also been building the capacity of our community. The Marae Trust over the last 8 years has organised and hosted te reo lessons, community wānanga, kapahaka, waka ama, and this year we organised the very first Whangamatā Matariki Festival, which was a huge success. It was a week-long festival which included workshops, a hangi in Williamson Park, which fed 600 people, waka ama, kapahaka concerts, and a Matariki viewing. And again, that was a collaboration of a whole lot of the community groups that are working on this project together, and showed what we can achieve when we all come together. My personal journey with this kaupapa started when I moved to Whangamatā from Christchurch in 2012 to teach outdoor ed and te reo Māori at Whangamatā Area School. One of the things I was excited about in moving to Whangamatā was the opportunity to be immersed in te ao Māori, to speak more te reo, to be involved more in Māori culture, coming from Christchurch where it's fairly limited. But I was shocked when I got here and arrived in Whangamatā that there was no marae, there was nothing visible in the community of Māori culture, there was very little te reo being spoken, and it was actually worse than it was in Christchurch. We have a wonderful Māori community, but there is nothing in our community for Māori. Our community has a lot of wonderful facilities, many of which are supported by council. We have golf clubs, rugby clubs, netball clubs, ocean sports clubs, social clubs, bowls, tennis, the list goes on. But there is absolutely nothing in our community for Māori. I remember the last presentation that we did to council very well. It was a week after my daughter Maya was born, and I stood here apologising for being bleary-eyed and yawning because I'd had no sleep. And that was nearly exactly 3 years ago. It was her third birthday last week. And I was just reflecting on that a little bit this week and thought about how quickly time passes. You know, it's 3 years already since the last time we were here. The people who were tamariki when this kaupapa started are now in their 50s. It's 2 generations have passed and we still don't have a marae. How many more rangatahi will grow up with Whangamatā without the presence of a local marae? How many more tangi will be held in our community in someone's backyard under a tarpaulin? How many generations will it take for this vision to be realised for our community? The time is now, we are ready and we need your support. Nō reira, kia kaha koutou, tautoko mai ki tēnei kaupapa. Tēnā koutou katoa.
switch do I use? Okay, that looks like me. Kia ora koutou, ko Michelle Crook, tauko ingoa. As you can see from the slide, I'm the chair of the Community Services Trust in Whangamatā, and we're one of the entities that has worked on the business case along with the Community Marae Trust for our possible relocation to 101 Lindsay Road, should a marae be created there. There are a number of other entities that wish to do the same, many represented here today. I would like to mention them to you now so that you can understand the breadth of support that there is for this proposal. The local Waste Resource Recovery Trust, Lions, Men's Shed, Arts Collective, Theatre Society and Community Patrol. Thank you all for coming today. I know that your support means a lot. I would also like to acknowledge the Community Marae Trust, who saw the potential in working together with us all and took a huge leap of faith that they could entrust us to support their aspirations in kaupapa without compromising them in any way. Kia ora. By working together on this business case, we can confirm between us all that we have the capacity, the capability, and I would add the tenacity to develop 101 Lindsay Road as a cultural and social services hub to meet the needs of our community now and into the future. On a personal level, I moved to Whangamatā in late 2020, having previously lived in Tauranga, where I worked as a strategic planning and marketing consultant for 25 years. Those who know me know that I am passionate about community service. I am passionate about volunteering, and I am passionate about community connectedness. And I have a deep and long-held appreciation of Māori culture and Te Ao Māori. My personal motto is similar to that of an African proverb, which says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. It was soon after I arrived in Whangamatā that I read in the local paper about the prospect of 101 Lindsay Road potentially being sold unless the community could deliver a business case to justify its retention. Having led a number of successful capital raises totalling over $40 million for communities of Papamoa, Tauranga and Rotorua, I was keen to see if I could assist in any way. And so my journey on this kaupapa started. Early on, we made a decision to engage Veros because we held them in high regard and we knew that they would be really useful for us to actually challenge us and put us through a process where we would each come as our own entity, but consider that we could all work together on one site. Really important for this kaupapa. And so we worked with them, and the answer was resoundingly positive. We are all driven in no small part by the recognition of the taonga that is 101 Lindsay Road. It is suitable for all of our needs, it is the right size, it is the right location, and it is accessible for our community. And it is something that together we can all see a future for our community. So as the chair of the Community Services Trust, we have long held an aspiration to move from where we are currently located, which is on the main street of the retail area of the town. We currently have people who want to access our services, but they feel great vulnerability and whakama about walking off the main street to ask for help. Our team do what they can to provide an outreach service, but how wonderful would it be to operate from a multi-entity campus with full wraparound and tikanga informed services at the ready and a marae alongside us so that people feel uplifted and not embarrassed or intimidated when they call on us. Turning now to your role as councillors, I realise that your decision to support this business case requires an assurance that we will be good kaitiaki of the site, not just now but for all time. I hope that the following Q&As will give you the assurance that you are seeking. First of all, the key question I imagine you are asking is this group cohesive and united? To answer that, I can honestly say that in all my years in the not-for-profit space, I have never met a group that is more united. In fact, I am incredibly proud of them all and the journey that we have been on. Throughout the past 18 months, we have covered governance protocol, the kaupapa of the site, site management, site planning, and robust decision-making, all requiring some high levels of trust and all undertaken with respect of one another and in good faith. By going through this process, we each understand that by working together, the whole will be greater than the sum of our parts. Secondly, the question that you will be asking, I'm sure, is can we really raise $10 million for this project? And I agree, it is a big number, but I absolutely believe we can. As I said, I've been involved with multiple number of projects like this, and I know that funders really like to see multiple entities working together for a common goal. I believe that within our group, we're aligned with a number of funder priorities, including uplifting Māori, supporting rangatahi, promoting waste minimisation, supporting social services, and promoting arts and culture. And so we will attract strong interest as a result. In fact, preliminary conversations are already underway, and these are all proving very positive. The next question you may have is regarding the strategic alignment with Council. The business case obviously goes into this in greater detail, but for me, the strength of our submission is the strong alignment we have with the local government wellbeing framework, which I know you will all be familiar with. With a community marae established and our entities working together on the same site, we will deliver social, cultural, environmental and economic outcomes. These outcomes will be intergenerational and transformational, and I believe that due to the establishment of the marae, they will be on a scale that's not been seen before in Whangamatā. The next question relates to the operational costs and the ongoing need for capital, as I know this is often a big risk and concern for councils and funders. On this matter, we understand these concerns and assure you of our intention to create a sustainable business model with good site governance and to create a community asset that is sustainable and able to be maintained to a high standard. Of course, the rental to be charged by council will materially influence our respective operating budgets, and so we hope that the charitable status of the 101 Lindsay Road entities will qualify us for the $350 per annum rental offered to charities under TCDC's leasing and licence to occupy policy. Lastly, I would like to touch on the other options for the site. Of course, there is an opportunity cost when the land is used for community purposes, but we earnestly believe that the deliverables will be transformational and the outcomes will be beyond what money can buy. Community and cultural pride, personal growth, waste reduction and awareness, intergenerational opportunities for rangatahi and kaumātua to work together on common projects, shared venues, shared experiences, civil defence support, the list goes on. We know too that the option of selling the land has been mooted and that is what has catalysed this community response. It goes without saying that all of the entities here believe that the loss of this land would be a travesty for Whangamatā. This is the last piece of suitable and accessible land available for a much needed community marae, and our community desperately needs this outcome. If this is taken away from us, this opportunity is gone forever. In closing, you put down a challenge to our community over 2 years ago. We have responded with what we believe to be a well-researched, well-constructed and comprehensive business case paid for with our funds and funds provided by funders and council. The process has made us stronger and more united, and so we stand before you today firm in the belief that we have the skills, capacity and capability for the workload that lies ahead. But in order to get underway, we need your support. With our part done, our challenge is now back to the councillors in this room to please see us, see the past, see the future. Please hear us, and please give us this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to show you what's possible on the taonga that is 101 Lindsay Road. Kia ora.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Gilbert. Thank you, Ryan. First of all, I just want to congratulate you on the passion, the integrity, the quality of your presentations, but also the quality of your business case that you've put together. I know there's a lot of work went into that, and a lot of heart, and a lot of soul. I'm going to ask councillors if there are any questions of you, and we'll take our time on this because it is important. So, councillors, do you have any questions? Councillor Walker, please. So, Councillor Walker and then Councillor Gottlieb. Thank you.
Yes, just to the group, Michelle, T, Ryan and group, thank you for the passion. And the question I've asked around is, we had a motion on the books about the land, and we've asked to do some work for you to do some work around that. Are you feeling comfortable that you've done those numbers and those requirements to meet that, to retain the land?
Thank you for that question. Yes, we are. We've stress tested it. We've worked initially when we started the process with Veros. We were all asked to identify individually how much space we thought we would require, not only for our current use but projected future use. And then we refined that. And so yes, in terms of the actual size of the footprint that we need, and then the funding that we would need for that. And even with that, initially some of the Veros numbers were quite high, and we said, I'll quote Peter Priest here, he said, we don't want to build the Taj Mahal, we just want something that's functional, that's suitable for our community, and that will see us, you know, and I guess able to target a figure that's realistic, but also that we believe is attainable, that we can get and deliver something that we're proud of. Mm-hmm.
Councillor Gottlieb.
Yes, I just probably can give people a bit of information. Seeing you've come here, you probably need to know this. Philip and Madeline Williamson purchased a farm in the beginning of the 20th century and virtually had covered most of Whangamatā. They gifted Williamson Park to the people to use. They had a huge amount of land taken from them under the Public Works Act, and in the 1990s, by pure chance, I was contacted by Beverly Williamson, their daughter, because they were seeking to commercialise Williamson Park. I didn't know much, even though I'm a lawyer, I didn't know much about that topic. Anyhow, I was assisted by the council's lawyers who said to me, quote, section this and section that, and I think you're on the right track. I went down to the hearing, and the council then agreed it would not be made into a restaurant. What then followed is, because they suddenly discovered the survivor, that was the only child they had, the Williamsons, what happened was they got hold of me and said, well, there's some land we've taken under the Public Works Act, and that was in the industrial area. And I managed to get her solicitors, and the council gave the land back to her. And then what happened was, what has been a burning issue with 101 is the feeling of money, because the land's worth something. But of course it has to be offered back to the survivors. Now I happen to know the survivors because through Beverly, and they are totally supportive of what is happening. So as far as I can just educate everyone here, that this technically has to be offered back unless we are prepared to proceed. The survivors are happy with this, and I think you should just know that there is the good feeling towards what is happening here, and just to let you know that, because I've got skin in the game, but I feel you should know this. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Gottlieb. So what I'm going to do is bring us back to questions of Michelle and Gilbert and Ryan, and then on the agenda we've got item 3.1, which is dealing with the receiving of the Whangamatā business case. We've brought that forward into the agenda, so after we finish with questions we will address item 3.1, which allows us to move forward on the next step for 101 Lindsay Road. So I'm going to go back to the councillors. Are there any further questions? Councillor Morrissey.
Just a couple, but first of all, I'd like to say thank you to those that have presented today and those that have attended. It is hard not to be impressed with the desire you have for a marae over there in Whangamatā, and it sounds like it's well overdue. I'll ask a question of you shortly. I'll just go on to Councillor Gottlieb's point he just raised. I've heard that before, Gary, and it may very well be the way things are, but if you've got some documentation or something that you can actually produce to council, which would assist us, that would be appreciated, much appreciated. Now, it's far from me to be the judge of where an appropriate location in Whangamatā is for a marae. To me, a marae is quite a special place, a sacred place, you know. It's where you have your tangi. It's a place of respect. And I've looked at Lindsay Road and I'm a little concerned that perhaps because it is seen as the only viable piece of land, the only available piece of land, that you are taking, that you want a site that I myself wouldn't see as a marae setting. But like you say, that's my thoughts. You people know the area a lot better than I. I was just wondering if there's a kaumātua there or somebody that can tell me where the original marae site was in Whangamatā. Sir?
That was the last part of the deliberations, that now it's called
So it's been developed. It no longer exists. So speaking to you now directly, do you think that 101 Lindsay Road is a place where you'd be comfortable having tangi and any other protocols associated with marae carried out there? Well, I want you to get the best. You know, you're not. Thank you.
And I'm going to apologise here because I should have asked you to come up because we've got people online who would not have heard your reply. I won't let that happen again because it's only fair that the people who are online have the opportunity to hear this. So, Brian, if you want to respond to that, please come up.
Yeah, I can speak to that too. I've been on many marae around the country and some of them are in rural settings. Some are in the middle of cities and towns. So there isn't one, a marae has to be in a certain place. And the benefits that we see at 101 Lindsay Road is that it's not close to any residential area. So we don't run into issues of noise and resource consent problems, which is a big win for us. The other thing that's a big plus is that it's accessible for our community. So maybe there would be more, you know, peaceful, picturesque locations out of town. There aren't actually any that are an option, but I hear what you're saying. That may be nicer in some respects, but in terms of a community marae that can be accessed by the community, that, you know, tamariki can walk from school and have their kapahaka practice there. Clients for the Community Services Trust can easily access it without having to drive out of town. There are a lot of benefits to that location. In terms of creating the wairua of the marae, that'll come through the design and what we build and how we, you know, landscape and plant and all the design of the marae. So absolutely, I think it can be a fantastic site. When you look at it right now, you wouldn't think so. It's a bit of a wasteland, but we see huge potential there and see that it can be a beautiful site for a community marae.
Thank you, Ryan. Councillor Sinclair, please.
Michelle, I had a specific question for you about the operation of your community Trust. And that I hear what you're saying about the main road location being unsuitable, and certainly when I was the chair of the Thames Community Centre, I would have been very reluctant to move our services to the main road for privacy reasons and for a whole lot of different reasons. So I just need some assurance that the things that make your Port Road location unsuitable will be fixed by being in a shared facility with a whole lot of different other people, because I'm hearing min shed, recycling centre, marae, and I just wonder about the vulnerability of those clients that are currently impacted by the vulnerability of your site.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a fair point, but the reality is, and you will see that in the business case, that at the moment, disproportionately, a number of our clients are Māori, which is concerning in itself, and part of the reason that we've employed Errol recently as a takawāinga is to actually provide more cultural safety and for our staff and awareness, and actually also for our community. And the entrance of, or the actual facility is a converted retail space at the moment. It's quite clinical. There's not a lot of aspects of tikanga in that space, and we actually believe that sitting alongside a community marae will actually create opportunity for us to be better and to deliver better outcomes for our community. And also, I personally quite like the fact that people can come onto that site. They might come on because they're coming to a kapahaka practice, but then there might be an opportunity for greater wraparound services because someone picks them up and says, actually, I know that this whānau is suffering, I know that there's not a lot of food at home, I know that Dad's just gone into prison, for example, which is, I know is happening in our town, and this young boy needs some support. And we've got that scaffolding there then. We've got a men's shed where we can work on a project together. We've got Helen who's picked up a piece of furniture that needs repairing, that one of our men from the men's shed might be able to work with that rangatahi, teach new skills. We can actually then give that to a whānau that needs it. So what we've really done through this project is actually really explore the connectivity and how we all work together. And I think when I said at the start, the one thing that really upsets me is seeing entities all saying that their kaupapa is about community outcomes and they're all working in silos. And I think if we can remove those silos, and we've already started it just by the fact, like I am the honorary secretary trustee of the Marae Trust, so I know what's going on now, and so we're starting to break down those silos, and this land will just give us that opportunity exponentially. So that's why I think we are excited as a board to absolutely endorse this this business case that's been submitted.
Thank you, Michelle. Councillor Rodley, please.
Yeah, well, I think my question would more be suitable to be asked or point made once we've established there's no more questions.
New item? Okay.
Thank you.
So we'll hold that if that's okay. There's no further questions. What I'll do is I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to receive the Marae and Community Services delegation. Can I, Councillor Rodley? Councillor, sorry.
Sorry. My point is just on that recommendation is there's a correction needed for the date. And point 2 should be 12th January 2024.
So we're not at that. We're still on a mover and a seconder for the receiving the delegation.
Oh, sorry.
So we'll come to that in a second. Thank you. So are you happy to move that? Okay. And Councillor Walker, all those in favour? Aye. All right. Thank you. So we'll move now to item 3.1, and I'd like a mover and a seconder, please, to receive the business case. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please, to receive the business case, item 3.2?
I'll move we receive it.
Okay. All right. So Councillor Morrissey, Councillor Percival, all those in favour?
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Okay. The second part of item 3.1 is that we, first of all, acknowledge that error in there, which should be 12th of January 2024. We got that noted. Thank you. We invite councillors to provide details to the Chief Executive on any matters requiring further clarification before 12th of January 2024, so these can be considered as part of the February decision report. And just some background that I'm aware that councillors need more information on this project before we're in a position that we can make a good, strong, robust and safe decision on this. So the purpose of this is to give staff time to do that work, bring it back to council so that we are ready to go with a decision in the February council meeting. So, Donna, thank you for coming up. Have you got anything that you needed to add to this?
Through the chair, no, that about covers it. We're just very keen to hear any feedback or any further matters that councillors want us to investigate so that we can bring it to the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Rodley.
Yes, I just had a question just above that recommendation at the top of page 187. It talks about staff wanting more work to provide council with practical options, but it also mentions in there about legislative considerations relating to the Public Works Act 1981. So you're able to explain what information is required about that?
So through the chair, we just want to make sure that we've got like all the factual information correct that we can provide back to council. There was a matter that the facilities manager brought up with me recently that we want to go back and check with legal to make sure that our understanding of also what Councillor Gottlieb is saying and make sure that we've got all the information in front of us that we can provide back to you to be able to make a decision. That's what we need, a little bit more time also to do that.
Thank you, Donna.
It was taken to be for a school. That was the purpose of it, for a school, but it never happened.
So it's the report on that information that we need in front of councillors. Thank you. John Morrissey, did you have?
Yeah, that's just been covered off. It's that Public Works Act thing. And I would ask if Councillor Gottlieb has any access or knows of how to get hold of any of that sort of information, that he liaises with staff and provide that.
Thank you. Councillor Gottlieb, you happy to do that?
I will try, but I can say, I'm sorry, I will try, but a lot of documentation, when we went back to show that there was a resolution passed after in the late 1990s that it wouldn't be commercialised Williamson Park, and all the documentation relating to various things with Williamsons, I went back to the lawyers when they had another go to discover that the council had uplifted all the files relating to that and had them destroyed. So that was not very good. And that had resolutions and other information that would have been very helpful. And the partner I spoke to had become a consultant. I was very embarrassed. He said they'd taken it from 2 weeks ago, all these boxes, and we believe they've destroyed them. They're not meant to do that.
So I'd like an affidavit from the lawyer saying that, because I actually don't like the connotations that go with that, Gary. But any information you've got would be appreciated.
Nor did I. And Miller Polgrain were very upset with that happening.
Thank you. So let's leave that with the staff to do their investigative work and see what answers they can come back with. Councillor Rebel, please.
First of all, thank you very much for the presentation. The passion and enthusiasm, and it helps us understand what the opportunity is for this. Could I request that when we come to the decision paper, that not only do we have a really good understanding of what we're saying yes to, but we do have a good understanding of what we're saying no to. So what are the things that in going in this direction that we as a council would be saying no to, perhaps in the immediate term or even in the longer term? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rebel. Councillor Walker, please.
Yes, thank you. And the question to Donna really around the motion that was put on the books that we're discussing today, that the information provided has met that criteria, so we can just now discuss where it's going.
Sorry, I'm not sure what you were asking there, Councillor.
The business plan that was provided.
Yes, so as we've said in the report, so the business plan has been looked at, the business case has been looked at by some staff, not all staff. We've still got to do some reviews. We've got to give a legal review,
Right.
finance review, and there's some other that's got to come through the leadership team and stuff first. So there's a bit of work that we just need to do to make sure that the information that we're providing back to you to make the decision is robust.
And my main concern is it doesn't affect the motion that's on the book about the current motion on the book. It doesn't change that in any way.
Sorry, Councillor Walker. Well, we'll ask Aileen to respond to that, please.
I think Councillor Walker is asking whether the trust have met their end of the deal, which the staff believe they have.
They have. Excellent. That's all. Thank you.
So just to clarify, that was the requirement to bring the business case to council before 30th of December, and that requirement's been met. Have I got that right?
Yes, through the chair, that's correct.
Yeah. Thank you. Councillor Sinclair, please, and then Councillor Rebel.
Donna, just to follow up on what Peter was saying about, making sure that we know exactly what we're saying yes to, I would find it quite useful to know the rents that are being paid by the organisations as they are, because I'm really aware that there'll be people in my community who will be unhappy about the $350 rent on the property. So I'd like to be able to understand that issue fully and be able to justify which way we went on it either way. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sinclair. Councillor Rebel.
This may be a silly question, but when I read the business plan and it talks about the 101 Lindsay Road Working Group on page 195, I noticed that Thames-Coromandel District Council is a member of the Lindsay Road Working Group, and I just, my immediate thought was, oh, is that a conflict of interest that we're council represented on the working group and we're being asked to make a decision around all this? But I prefaced it, it may be a silly question. Yeah.
There are no silly questions, Councillor Rebel, and I think it's a very fair and relevant question. I'm not sure what the answer is.
I can speak to that.
Councillor Walker.
Yeah, so Eileen Hopping, who is a staff member, was originally part of that discussion group. No councillors have sat onto that group. They've always set aside. So it was a staff member that was part of that discussion and invited in there to be part of the discussion. So, yeah, to answer your question. Yeah. If I could also take a point and talk about the Councillor Sinclair's concern about the $350. I think if you look at the policy that the council currently has on this, that it meets those criteria, and it's a function.
Sorry, Councillor Walker, I don't want to interrupt, but what I'm going to request is that those discussions are moved over to the report that comes back to council in February, because what we're doing is we're asking the chief executive to go away and do the work that we need. And I'd prefer to have that discussion once we've got all the information in front of us. So what Councillor Sinclair has done is said, look, as part of that reporting back to council, I would like this information. That's fair. And then we have that robust discussion. I think
and look at the policy.
Yeah. Thank you. So
just one last question, and it is for Donna. It's something it's really important to me, Donna. If you can, in that report, just look at other instances around the district where district land has been sought for community purposes, and if there are any examples of that, that would be very helpful. Just to clarify to the audience that's here, there's a difference between district land, which is what Lindsay Road is, and is effectively owned by every ratepayer from Whangamatā to Coromandel. They've all purchased it, and so they have a vested interest in that land as well. So, yeah, if we could just actually see if there have been other instances, Donna, that'd be very helpful. And also, where the community, local community, have purchased the land for similar community facilities.
It wasn't a purchase, it was taken under public service.
And you'll provide the proof of that, Gary.
I'm starting to feel for Donna. The list is growing by the minute. So, all right. So unless there are any further questions, what I would like to do is ask for a mover and a seconder, please, for item 2. Can I get a mover? I'll move it from the chair. Seconder? All right. All those in favour? Councillor Grant, please. All right, that is carried. Thank you, Donna. And thank you once again to everybody who took the time to come here today. This is very much appreciated. Thank you.